Wow, that is a snappy shaman. How's it going, everyone? This is Tom Moore coming at you live from the Millie Club, both on Facebook and YouTube right now. We're live streaming some sharpening today. I did a little sharpening off camera earlier because I had some really intense, tough thing to sharpen. Just got a message from Jason. I did this morning. It took me forever, so I didn't do it on camera because it would be boring to watch me do this forever. But I did an Umnumzon Tonto to a mirror. Look at that bad boy. That took me an hour and a half to do that. So I'm glad that's done. So now we're going to do something simpler because that wore me out. But I need to get I want to get this whole order done today. So next up is his M4 Shaman with Lynch scales. I have to tell you, this is one of the best feeling shamans I've ever handled. It's dialed in. Like, the guy who built it knew what he was doing. Like, it's built right. But these scales make it feel so much more solid. It's loud. The acoustics are great. Grip's great. It feels good in hand. It looks awesome. Oh, thumbs up. That's weird. Huh? Anyway, this is an awesome shaman. So we're going to sharpen this. I like sharpening Spideys. Spideys make me happy to sharpen because I've done so many that they're it's not that they're not challenging. They're rewarding because they turn out well. Okay, so to clamp a Spyderco, you're going to get a stone. Got our 150 grit Halfstone Premium CBN. We're going to start with that. Okay, and since this is Spyderco, the way you don't clamp it tip to heel parallel, that logic is fine, but it doesn't work on Spydercos perfectly because the way the stone and this line right there are. So what you want to do is you push the stone up against there. You're going to rotate the handle until right there where the stone is just touching the grind line. And that's where we're going to tighten it to. That way we can get a nice clean heel all the way to the end of the edge. Okay. All right, so this is a Spyderco, so most likely it's going to be very close to 17 degrees. So I'm just going to kind of start where I know it should be kind of at, right around there. And we're going to scrub, and look at that. So that was just a quick scrub. It got all the Sharpie off, nice and evenly. You can kind of see the chatter lines from where we're sharpening from the factory. So this is good. I bet this is pretty close to 17. Let's see what we got with the cube. We are at 16.9 degrees. So yeah, we're at 17. That's what we're going to sharpen at. Right on. Cool. Okay, we start on the presentation side. You can start on the other side. It doesn't matter what side you start on, but I always start on this side because when I'm done, I know that the knife will be facing up with these two screws up so I can take it out. And it helps me keep track of how many flips I do. Because if you don't always start on the same side, you can like drift off in your head while you're sharpening very easily. And you just keep on going. So it's nice to be able to count and not lose track. Okay, let me show you my edge. Get up nice and close. We're going to mirror this. It's going to look really cool. With these scales are dope. I like them. I haven't handled a set of these before, and I was contemplating them, but they're pretty expensive. They're like $180. Let's check our stop collar. So we're not going to go over the edge, barely. We're fine. So our stop collar is in a good spot. Our rear bumper that keeps it from flying off is in a good spot. Perfect. So we need to sharpen away. Zoom out a little bit. Let's get this heel. Okay, so we're just going to do a heel, bump this up against the flat grind line. That's it. Stay up there and tilt the stone a little bit like this so it's kind of pushing in so you have pressure on the inside face. And you're just going to grind and then do some fade out strokes. Grind, do like 3 or 4 strokes, and then check. And if you look now at our heel, it looks a lot different already. It doesn't take much to get the heel out. Like, we already did it. That's it. Some people say it takes like, 20 minutes to get the heel out. No, it literally takes 20 seconds to like at least form the basis of a heel. We're not done with it yet, but it's not long to make it look nice. So now we're just going to sharpen the edge. The heel will be the hardest part to get shiny. It always is. So we will spend a little extra time making sure the bevel is nice and cleaned out the heel. This is M4, cool. Okay, I think we're going to flip actually. Let's check for a burr. We got a burr in the middle. Yeah, we're good on the burr. What up, Stig King? I love sharpening because I have to, because it's my job. It's fun saying this is my job now because it actually is. And making money off knives has been my dream. So finally figuring out how to do it has been pretty fun. Now this side, let's see. We didn't check the marker on this side because we just want 17. Let's see what it looks like. Just the way it's set in the factory. So as you can see on this side, it's not as clean. Like, there's still some marker on the leading edge of the bevel, it looks like. Yeah, you can see the burr, but leading edge of the bevel, there's still some Sharpie throughout, which means we're at a lower angle than 17 degrees. I mean, we're at a higher angle here, so 17 is lower than what's existing. So we'll do a little reprofiling, no big deal. Facebook user says, how often do you check your Facebook Messenger? I check my Facebook Messenger approximately 100 times a day. Doesn't mean I will see your message because it could be in my junk or in my spam. I don't check those as often, but I check my Facebook Messenger often. And if I see your message and I have time and it's sharpening related, and it's not a question about how to do something that's going to take me 3 hours to respond to, I will usually check it right away. So who is this Facebook Messenger? And I'll make sure I get a hold of you. I got all my things I use right on my home screen of my phone. Facebook Messenger, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Repost app, all my social media stuff. And I just kind of go in a circle and check them all the time. Doing the heel on this side, just a couple strokes. One thing I don't like about my stone case is it rattles when I start going to town, so I'm going to stuff it full of things for a second. Okay, let's check our heel out. We don't want to overdo it, which is easy to do to some degree, but you notice way before it gets overdone. So we're going to do a little bit more. Now we're going to work this edge a little bit. Make sure we get a burr. We're just doing forward strokes, kind of. Keep our scratch pattern lined up. Okay, flip. So we'll check for a burr. Our fingernail, we got one there. We have a little more work to do at the heel. Definitely got one at the tip. So we'll do another pass at 150 grit. I usually do 2 to profile, get the heel, and clean up. There's usually 2 passes, sometimes 3 if the heel takes a lot of work, or if there's a lot of reprofiling. I mean, it can be a lot of passes, but usually on a typical knife from the factory like this, I do 2 passes at 150, and that is plenty to clean everything up, and it does not take that long. We're, what, 10, with me talking, we're 10 minutes in, and we're basically profiled out. And then the polishing stuff is going to take time, but it's not bad. Profiling is the important one. Your bottom stone, what we're doing now is the most important part of sharpening. This is what's important. Once I'm done with this, I stop paying attention kind of because you're just polishing and you're just trying to refine the burr and the edge. But this is the important one. This is, you're building a foundation like a house. Like, you can't do anything until this is good. You can't polish this up if you leave garbage on this bevel from this stone, or if you don't apex the edge, or if you leave like a divot in it, or unsharpened part of the edge that wasn't quite even. You will notice it. Okay, check for a burr. Good. We're good. We're good. Okay, now we're done with the stone. Moving on to Hapstone. Whoop. Where is it? 400 grit. Okay. So I go forward. Usually 400, I don't know why, but I usually go forward, and then I'll do some backward strokes to kind of mess the last scratch pattern up from the 150 grit. I feel like if you go opposite direction on scratches, it kind of eliminates some that might be kind of stubborn sitting there. I don't know. It's just a theory. It doesn't really take any time, though. It's just my process. Paying extra attention to the heel. They always are the hardest spot to get scratches out. So literally, when you're doing heels, I just do that. And I'll do like 3 times and then fade out. Yeah, dude. Oh, what up? Is your name, you say Schichter? Is that how you pronounce your name? Schichter? I love that you enjoy watching these. I appreciate it. So we got some big releases coming out. So as a little nugget of info for you 8 people watching this right now, there is an exclusive PM2. And by exclusive PM2, I mean for the Facebook group. I'm going to zoom out for a minute. For the Facebook group, we're releasing our own PM2. I've been working on this for almost 5 years. That's how long the dream, planting the seed with Eric to let us do an exclusive, is a 5-year process. And we are there. It is releasing this month. It is the Tiger. It is made of M398 steel that has been heat treated differently than the Mule by guidance from Sean Houston, Triple B Handmade, who also did the 15V heat treat, is coming this month. And also coming in the next, I don't have a date yet, but I'd say 2 weeks, is this bad Mamma Jamma. This guy's coming back, the Bowie from Knife Joy, the Goat. Not a cheap knife. I think these are like $460. Really cool. If you always wanted a Bowie, this is your chance to get one. I'm going to take mine. I'll be very honest. This blue anodizing sucks. It discolors the second you touch it. It scratches easy. It's very chalky feeling in hand. It kind of cheapens the feel of this knife, if you ask me. So I'm taking mine, I'm sending it to River's Edge Cutlery, and I'm going to have this black washed. And it'll be nice and dark, stone wash and smooth, and get rid of this blue ano. Other than that, this knife is badass. They added a lock bar insert, which everyone's been asking for since ever. You can see the lock bar insert in there. So yeah, awesome. 2 big drops coming out. But the Tiger's coming. The Tiger's finally fucking going to happen. This has been years of delays, years of changes. The scales will be something you guys have never seen before. You're not going to want to scale swap it. But if you do want to scale swap it, go fucking nuts. Buy 2 of them. Buy as many as you want. The Tiger's coming this month. So that's your guys' little tidbit of info for watching. I am excited. I am really excited. I don't honestly know what Jeff Lawfer has planned fully. I know at one point I was discussing going to Idaho to help, so I need to figure that out pretty soon. If I'm going to Idaho. Okay, I do 2 passes at 400 usually just to make sure all the scratches are gone. 400 grit stone, you can still fix visible shit up. If you have visible scratches, like noticeably visible after 400, you will not get them out with the upper stones. If you have problems with your edge past 400, you're just going to have to polish them and then have the churd sitting there. So fix them here. If you polish and then you go up a stone and you see it, go back down a stone. Go back down to 400. Look at all that dust. All this is steel powder. Oh, yeah, magnetic. Lots of steel powder. All the burr falling apart. Okay, and so right now, if we wanted just to get a sharp knife, we are done. This would be, I'd throw a 3 micron strop on this, and we do a satin edge. We done. We're going to mirror this, though. So we're going to keep on going. Up to 800 grit now. Zoom out a little bit. Oh, man. Yeah, that's right, dude. The Tiger's coming. And I don't know. So this is the hard part. We've been working on this for years. When this was incepted, PM2s were, and still are, exceptionally popular. But when we ordered this, PM2s were like, 1 minute sellouts, 2 minute sellouts at dealers. So I don't know how many we ordered. We took the order size down at one point because we were really worried about not selling out. Now I'm worried we're not going to have enough. So this is going to be an interesting drop. Mr. Eric says, I know you run your stones dry. What do you clean them with? Because I know they get loaded pretty quickly with steel. These stones, as you can see, don't get loaded with steel. Like, really at all. Every once in a while, and I mean seldomly, but once in a while, I'll take a piece of magic eraser. That's why it's so dirty. But, like, they don't really get loaded up. They don't stop working. I'll just wipe it down. But, honestly, I do that pretty seldom. They stay relatively clean. If you want to get your stones clean, though, I suggest using mineral oil because it pulls all the shit out. When I used to sharpen with the KME, I used oil as a lubricant, honing oil, and it keeps your stones from getting loaded up. The KME diamond plates do get loaded up pretty easily. So that is what I would do. Soap water, barkeeper's friend is another thing you can use. Magic eraser. But I like oil. Oil literally is kind of cool to watch. Like all the little bits of steel just kind of like come out. Like the oil turns black really quick, and then it's off. So I sharpened with it, but man, sharpening with liquid like oil or water for that matter gets messy, and I don't like sharpening with it. It feels not precise. It just feels like sloppy work area. I don't know. I don't like it. I like sharpening dry. There's no reason for these stones to sharpen wet. I don't honestly know what the reason you have to sharpen wet is. I mean, it makes sense. It's lubricating the stone gliding over steel. But I don't know why these don't need water and some do need water. I couldn't tell you a scientific answer to that. Okay. So we're looking pretty good with 800 grit. This is semi-polished, nice satin edge. 2000 grit stone. This will put a nice little shine on it real quick. Get that heel. Make sure it's nice and scratch free. Looking good to me. Looking pretty good. We're up to 5,000 grit. I used to only go to 2,000 grit. And then I got the 5,000 and 8,000 grit stones. Never really used them, but now I'm starting to understand or see the difference, especially on video. You can kind of tell the difference between 5 and 2. But 2,000 grit looks fine. So like if you're buying these stones, you don't need the 5,000 grit. If you want a mirror, you can get a polished edge for the 2,000 grit, and then you strop it. It looks really good. That's what I did for a long time. But if you do want to get these stones and get a mirror, get the 5,000. I don't think you need the 8,000, but the 5,000 does help a little bit. On video anyway, you can notice it. Alrighty. Now our last stone, 5,000 grit stone. No, it sounded different, and that's because if you look here, it wasn't seated all the way in. So good catch now. It didn't feel right. It wasn't riding smooth on the bevel. So at this point, it feels like two pieces of glass just gliding over each other. There's very little grit on these stones. Like they're smoother than my desk feels by far. Very smooth surface, but it's just polishing out micro scratches, making this bling come to life a little bit. This is enjoyable sharpening a Spyderco again after doing that Tonto all morning. I spent with breaks. It's hard for me not to take breaks when I sharpen for more than a half hour or 45 minutes or so. That one took me over 2 hours with breaks in there. I watched TV quite a bit, but at least an hour and a half of solid just plugging away, trying to polish it up. Okay, we were at 17 degrees. So now we're going to switch to a strop. Go to a 1 micron gunny juice strop. I'm going to wipe all the steel dust off the edge before we put the strop on it. Okay. Zero out our angle cube again. So when you change from the stones to the strop, the thicknesses are different. So you have to reset the angle. Otherwise, you're not stropping at the right angle. So it's at 17.35 now, 17.4. We have to go down to 17. And that will give us a nice, I don't know how big of a difference it is, but that's where it should be. I haven't stropped with the paddle strop for a while. I was such a big proponent, and I got so many people using paddle strops. There's nothing wrong with them. It is a skill. So if you want a paddle strop, go nuts. But I have been enjoying the edges I've been getting and the relative lack of stress of screwing some things up by doing stropping on the Cadet. So I like this kind of stropping now. Do I ever tilt the stone in a little at the back of the heel of Spyderco to remove the little nub? Yeah, dude, that's how you do it. You go, doop, tips on sideways. You break all the rules of sharpening. You put pressure on it, you turn it sideways, and you scrub it away. You just don't do it too hard or too long. But yes, you do tilt it a little bit to get back in there. Otherwise, you'll put a flat spot right here. If you're just scrubbing, you'll put a flat spot here instead of here. So you gotta put pressure on the edge. This is gonna look pretty spicy, I think. This is the annoying part, it's dropping though, because like it's so close to done and it looks good, but I have tons of strops that keep on getting finer and finer, and it's like, can you tell the difference between a 0.5 and a 0.25? Probably not, but we're gonna do it anyway. Make it really shiny. So when you draw it, make sure you don't push. It's so easy to like stop paying attention for half a second and push the leather into the edge and destroy your strop. It happens so quick. We're probably good there. We're going to stop at 0.5. That's where I usually stop my paddle strops, is 0.5. Actually, that's as low as my paddle strops go. Okay, let's clean this blade up. See if there's any Sharpie on there. If there's any Sharpie on your blade left over from the sharpening. Oh, man, do I have a shadow on my tip? Man, I got a little bit I have to do on this tip. I'll have to do that. Come back and fix the tip a little bit. So let's see if it's sharp. Oh, laser beam. So sharp. And yes, you can use printer paper to determine sharpness. This is my benchmark. If it doesn't cut printer paper, it needs to be sharpened. If it cuts printer paper, great, it's fine. But if it laser beams it, you can feel it, you're sharp. This is very, very, very sharp. Okay, so unfortunately we got a little spot that I didn't notice. Right here. On the very top of the bevel, there's a little area that's at a slightly lower angle that didn't get fully polished. So we're going to put it back in the sharpener and try to get that little annoying nubbin piece. We shouldn't have to readjust the sharpener. Oh, we should. We should put a strop in it. So we're going to have to readjust the sharpener to 17 degrees. We're going to go down to 400 grit for that spot. We're just doing that one spot. So let's see what it looks like. It's really hard to see. It's not even that noticeable. But it's bugging me, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to try 400 grit and see if I can get it 400 grit. I don't want to mess up my edge that much with the 150 right now. So going backwards, it happens. My mirrors, if you send me an eyes to get sharpened, you will be happy with your fucking edge, or send it back and get it better. Or if you don't trust me, I'll send it to Scott Gunn and he'll fix it for you. But I'm pretty much a perfectionist on my edges. Like, no one would notice what I'm doing right now, probably, except for me. And if you were very particular about your edges, but I can't leave it alone. So we're going to put some Sharpie on that little tiny bit right there at the tip. So that tip happens a lot, especially on this side, is it gets shallow angle right at the very end, like when they pull it out of the machine or however it works. This happens a lot, and it's annoying. We got to tighten this down. Okay, back at the tip. I'm just going to scrub on the tip, see what comes off at and what's left. So we got a little bit of Sharpie right there. It's like a millimeter bit. It's above, this is all above the bevel, but below the bevel is a little tiny bit. So we got to scrub that little bit out. So we have a nice clean mirror and a nice clean tip. At the tip, you will kind of notice it. I used to sharpen my knives and not care about this, and then in pics you can totally see it because it's like the most obvious part of the picture is the tip that's pointing at the camera. Okay. So I'm holding my finger under the tip to keep it from bending down on the clamps. These clamps are a spring, and you don't want them to bend. If you put pressure, it will move where the edge is, and it'll fuck everything up. So I'm holding my finger under here to keep it at the right angle and to keep me from rolling the stone off the edge while I put a little bit of pressure on there. But I don't want to tip my sharpener over anything. So shitty thing about doing this is if you do it long enough, you do create a burr. Okay, I think we got it out. We're going to do a little tiny more. I always, when I come back to do something, I make sure it's fucking fixed, though. Because sometimes I'll say it's good enough, and then I do it again. And then we're going to have to do both sides, because we're probably creating a burr right now. Even with this high of a grit, it still kind of burrs it out. Yeah, it's got a big burr. Okay. So this side's got a burr because we just sharpened the other side. So we got to, as little as possible, like just to there where we sharpened to, kill the burr off. We don't want to scratch it more than we have to because we have to come back and fix it. Now we do it again. Now we go 800 grit. We got the problem out though. So now I'm happy. So we're just going to try to fix where we sharpened at. So just to the tip area. You kind of got to go farther past where you stop to make sure you get it all. So by the end, we're going to be sharpening the whole edge, really. But we're just going to fix our tip. Okay. Just getting out the scratches that we left from the last time. We flipped it and flipping the burr back over. Whoa, people here. Let's see what's going on. I think we'll just probably sharpen one knife today. I bought a wicked edge and wished I had gotten the cadet. The wicked edge stones don't let me get into the heel. Ben, message Greg Bartram. He's in the group. He's one of the first members of the group. He's the only person I know that sharpens with the wicked edge. He's been doing it forever, and he modifies his stones so they work with Spyderco's so he can get the heel. So message Greg Bartram. He'll be happy to help you and show you how to do it. What up, Jordan? What up, Michael Price? Your package came in today. It's a big box. Did you just send one knife in that big-ass box? But it's here. Well, thank you, Ben. I appreciate when people watch and comment, so keep it up. Let me know if you got any more questions. Okay, we just did 800. Now we're doing 2,000 grit. This is what sets an edge apart, though. It's like, that would have been fine, and it's still not totally perfect, but it's pretty damn good. But those little things you see, especially in pictures on Instagram, and that's my audience. I'm not sharpening Kershaws every day for people just to beat up and use. I sharpen really, really fucking nice knives all day, every day. Sometimes people send beaters with it, but like these are all knives that are meant to be used in pictures usually. And I don't like seeing my mistakes on other people's photos. That's a bummer if I see something I did that I fucked up on someone else's knife. Okay, 5,000 grit. We're all the way back up. We fixed it all. So let's just buff this back out. We're going to re-strop it with just a 1 and a 0.5 micron strop. Looks pretty good. It's the heel, it's the tip, it's the clean bevel, it's equal size. It's like there's a lot of little details of sharpening. It's not that hard if you just follow basic principles. But swallowing your pride and going backwards to a lower grit stone to get out your mistakes is an important lesson to accept that happens sometimes. And don't beat yourself up or think you did a bad job or screwed up or should have been looking and you didn't look and now whatever. It happens. It happens to me. I don't know, every third or fourth knife I mirror, it happens. It's not a big deal. Okay, back to the strop. 1.5 or 1 micron. Set this to 17 degrees. Understanding the scratches that your stone leaves. I didn't do that for a long time. I never pay attention. I just like blindly ran through the stones and just scrubbed forever. But understanding the finish, the scratch finish, and what each of your grits is capable of removing is important. I know that my stones basically at 400 grit will get rid of stuff. Deep scratches, I need the 150. 800 is not getting anything out though. So understand what your scratches look like so you can fix them before you have to go backwards. When I'm stropping, what I am trying to do, so it's got a scratch pattern, and a scratch pattern is all going forward, right? I do go forward and backwards because I'm trying to buff those scratches out. And by going multiple directions, I'm hitting them from different facets. So this is purely for polishing reasons in my own head. I don't know if that makes sense. But really, the strop's main function is to pull the burr off and straighten the apex. So it doesn't really matter what direction I go in. I'm trying to make it look nice by polishing out scratches. But yeah, I go in both directions to try to get them out. But big scratches won't come out with the strop. So if you have big scratches, don't think they're going to come out with the strop. The strop doesn't get out scratches. It just shines things. It like micro polishes. It doesn't remove big lines. If you have a noticeable visible scratch, it's not coming out the strop. I don't care what micron you use to get it out. You will overstrop trying to chase it out. So get it out with the stone. Okay, 0.5 micron strop. Then we'll be good. Some people are pretty funny about the way they sharpen. Just like they heard something and that's the way it is. I nothing I say I want anyone to take with 100% accuracy is that's the right way to do anything. This is the way I sharpen. It's where I learned. I didn't watch very much YouTube about sharpening. I just kind of learned on my own. Picked up tips and tricks from people that are better than me over time, and created my own style, created my own what makes me comfortable, the way I hold the system, the way I stroke, whatever it is. You'll develop your own way. So don't take anything I say too literally because I could be totally wrong. It's just what I've developed over time. But I do come out with some pretty damn good edges. So copy me if you want. It works. Okay, we're all done. Let's get this thing shined up. Chamois cloth. Okay, we're all mirrored up. And we're going to take a slicey with this again. I'm pulling the edge through the paper. This is not supposed to be like I'm showing off how sharp it is. This is how I test that there's no burr. Before I send back to a customer, I pull the whole edge through. And sometimes there'll be a nick. Sometimes if it's a user, there'll still be a chip there that I didn't see or a chip that didn't come out with the profiling. But this is a very sharp M4 Shaman. It's very shiny. Now I'm happy with the way it looks. I wasn't happy with the tip before, but now it looks good. These Lynch scales kick ass. I want a set of them. I think I might be messaging them soon to see what's going on with these. These are really good, and it makes the knife feel really solid. Anyway, I'm a lucky guy. I get to sharpen every day. I have worked myself into a niche where I sharpen a lot of Spydercos, obviously, from the group. But my new thing is I sharpen a lot of Chris Reeves, and that's really fun. I like sharpening these nicer knives. They take longer. I could sharpen a bunch of knives to satin finish that were cheaper, and I'd make more money, but doing these cool knives gives me something I can make content with, so that's awesome. Thank you, Michael. Yours will be done. I have 3 orders in front of yours and the one I'm working on now. 4 orders in front of yours. So probably 3-4 days, and I will do it live. Anyway, if you want your knife sharpened, send me a DM. I do check it constantly. I will get back to you as long as it's not a really long question that I have to answer about something that's going to take me an hour to answer. So anyway, thank you for joining me. This is Tom. Follow me on Instagram at Thomas O'More. If you're watching this on Facebook, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're in the YouTube channel and you don't know about the Facebook group, go learn about it. Get in the Millie Club. And in the comments, when you apply, say, Tom told me to come here. And I will get you approved right away, and it will change your life. Anyway, thank you all. Peace out. I'll be back later this afternoon.